Hi, so before we begin, I kind of have to explain away how I stumbled upon this. So I was looking into the topic of AI art, and this will inevitably lead you to 𝔰🨊🐷, or Shad M. Brooks, the brother of Jazza, or Jazza Draws, as he is one of the biggest advocates for AI art. Now, this took me on a small journey, first taking me to Fena's channel, then moving forward to 𝔰🨊🐷, and eventually landing on this creator, going by the name of DedCity. And in the end of her video, she challenges Shad to do a AI prompt generation. So here's the clip.
Oh no, this was just the preliminary pool. There is still so much I have to discuss, but at this juncture in time, I feel it is best if we depart from the subject of your defense of AI art. But before we conclude things here, I have a little challenge of my own for you to complete. If AI is really not the one that is the driving creative force behind your artwork, Shad, if your unique vision is truly what is required in order for you to get the results that you want, prove it. This is MOTOKOA. MOTOKOA is a character from a card game I have been developing behind the scenes with several art friends of mine, including Buggy from this very video. It took 7 hours and 49 minutes for me to draw the entirety of MOTOKOA. If AI is everything you say it is, then recreate this, but instead of MOTOKOA, have your sword girl OC in the picture. Now we can't make it too easy. The AI would be worthless if it does it slower than I can, so let's say if it can recreate this image but with your sword girl OC within 8 hours, then I will acquiesce to your point that AI is creator driven and just requires really strong vision. But if it can't, then you must admit, at least to yourself, that it's not another tool. It's not the camera. It's not the brush. Record yourself recreating this exact image but with your sword girl to prove me wrong. Do it on a live stream even if you feel confident enough. The Google Drive to the full-size image will be linked in the description down below for anyone who wants to attempt this challenge. But with that aspidocalone amount of things out of the way, my name's Undead.
Yeah, so I don't really get this. I don't really understand your challenge. You're telling Shad to place his waifu where this behemoth lies, or something along those lines. Yeah, I don't really follow. What I do know though is two things. One, Shad needs a cold bath.
To curb lust, take a cold water bath.
And two, I like what you did with this. I like the design of this MOTOKOA. And I've decided I want to draw this thing. So yeah, I kind of like the way you depicted it, and I'm going to do my own rendition. I hope you don't mind. Okay, now let's move into what I actually did with this thing, this MOTOKOA. So I started off with some thumbnail sketches, simply as a warm-up. And moving to the actual sketch, I decided we're going with old god depiction. Basically my idea was to have this single person looking up at this MOTOKOA, viewing this old ancient deity, and there was a time in the sketch, you might see it, where there were going to be multiple, so this one person would be bewildered by this anomaly and the rest would be basically praising or worshipping this thing. But I quickly scrapped that idea and just stuck to one person, simply because the person is there to represent scale. That's basically the gist of it. And having one person view this being like something that you can speak about and no one would believe you, I thought that was more interesting, so I stuck with that. I also must admit that the name is kind of eerily similar to something from my childhood. I used to be a Lego Barnacles fan, and MOTOKOA, Matanui, yeah, all of that. Are you a Barnacles fan? I'm wondering. Because yeah, that's, I'm guessing it could also be either Aztec or Hawaiian to an extent, but the depiction actually falls more into something either out of the Greek pantheon or something out of like Dante's Inferno. Yeah, I think it'd fit in nicely over there. But I honestly, I'm deferring to your image, but I know nothing about what the story behind the story is. I also like some of the choices, like only having one arm. That's pretty interesting, and not seeing the bottom half is also another thing. That does it even have like legs? Very interesting. And then of course the tower on top, that was like the first thing that drew me to this, because that's something different. Imagining they could be like demons, or I don't know, even mechanical, or something otherworldly inhabiting this thing's dome is quite a unique and interesting idea, I must admit. Now, of course, I don't know. I can only assume and come up with ideas here and there, but that is something I genuinely liked. Also, just having the image you created as a reference was a massive help with this. I would actually change a couple of things if I were to do a finalized version, but I think we'll save that for the end. Let me first just mention the utensils I used. So I did use like a 5H, so H is for hard, meaning it will have light lines, and you basically can't press harder to make them darker. It doesn't work that way. They're more like construction lines. So, and 5H is like a very light pencil. You barely see it. Then I had a 6B, which is the exact opposite. B is for black, meaning it's a very dark graphite. And I also switched it up with B, a simple black. And yeah, so I also did use an eraser, as well as the putty eraser, and of course I had a pencil sharpener. So that's the utensils. That's my little kit I used for this. The pencil I also used is like from 2nd grade or something. It's old, but it still works. And the reason I didn't use it back then was because I didn't understand how hard pencils work. It's like you draw with this thing and it's not doing anything. But yeah, they're mostly meant for construction lines. They're meant for your invisible sketch before you actually start your drawing. That's what hard pencils are meant for. Most of the time. I guess you can use them in different ways. But yeah, that's mainly what they're used for. Getting back to the sketch though, so I took a couple of creative liberties that you didn't really include in your drawing, like adding the chains. These would be massive chains, by the way, something similar to what they'd use to hold down either a Cthulhu or some other eldritch Lovecraftian deity, I guess. Besides that, I also did change the shape of the structure on top of its head a bit. I was thinking in the line of the Tower of Babel out of the Bible, something along those lines. So as for the finalized version, if I were to do something like that with this type of image, I would actually push the perspective a bit more. So instead of having it be a landscape as this image is, I would rather do something from an ant or worm's point of view. So bottom up perspective. where you push the figure looking upwards at this hand with a waterfall of magma and the building on top, you emphasize that even more. So you'd make it drastically dynamic and push this image even further in that way. I think that would suit this the best out of everything with what we have here. Now, look, I only did this because I liked your concept and I found it like entertaining to myself. It's quite fun doing things like this, so that's why I did it. If this were to be, you said it was part of a card game you're working on. If I'm thinking of like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh cards, that's the type of image I would want to place on it. So yeah, just a free idea. Feel free to use it. All said and done though, this is how the sketch turned out. And to DedCity, I do hope this is okay with you. If it is not, do message me and let me know. My intentions are not to intrude in any way, shape or form, so that is quite important to me. I simply liked your concept and wanted to do something in a similar vein. But closing off, I do hope everyone enjoyed, and until next time, thanks for watching. Stay with me.